Hello everyone, welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. I've got Gary Judge with me from Across the Park podcast, and we've got Muskie as our producer in the the workshop. I don't know what I'm on about.
Muskie in his warehouse.
Muskie's working in the workshop, which is a belter little restaurant on the corner of Liverpool Road and St John's Road, where we are lucky enough to record all our pods from, and where sometimes we come in our spare time because it's got boss food. Again, you get 20% discount if you make the order, as in you pre-book your reservation rather than just turn up. They do small belter plates, but again, my personal favourite every week is the Sunday roast. So again, check them out on our Instagram and come down, bring the family, bring your friends, bring your missus, bring your boyfriend, and enjoy the workshop. We've also got a belter little partnership going with Soccer Locker. I'm currently repping the Cork City FC top. It's actually nice, isn't it?
It is really nice, yeah.
Gary turned up. Here's what happened. Gary turned up at a couple of them, and there was this belter. And I look good in blue, by the way. I think blue's my colour. He turns up with this.
Your colour?
No, I don't. I don't look good in red, I don't think. Weirdly, but anyway, turns up with this belter blue Brazil kit. I'm like, lad, I'll have that. Fuck off, lad, I'm having this. So I got second pick, and my second pick was this belter. So yeah, go and check them out. Soccer Locker. You get 10% if you type in Leggett10 at checkout, and there's loads and loads and loads of belter.
Next week as well. Sorry, boys. I've let the team down there massively.
Andy
offered me the Euro 96 England shirt. I went, Andy, you keep that for bed. I know how much you value that shirt.
I will wear it one week. I'll wait till the Euros are kicked off.
Yeah, it is the proper. It's a classic. Can
I just say as well, I know the majority of our listeners are Scousers, Reds and Blues. No doubt we get a few from up and down the country, but we were just saying off here, the amount of abuse like I've got, essentially, which I thankfully don't care about, but like Scousers in general, this stereo. Because I mentioned about Chelsea's business owners selling a hotel. Didn't say anything out the ordinary, just stated what happened. We got told that, we know nothing about money. You are a successful businessman in your own right, in your kind of own personal life. But apparently you don't know fuck all about business, or we don't. Apparently we don't own
any of our own homes.
No. What the Scousers know about money. And then because I just, again, stated facts about Man City, got called bin dippers, or something about being on the dole, always the victim, never our fault. What do we know about, again, money? It's staggering to wonder why Scousers don't like the rest of the country. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But if you want to laugh and you just want to, it's quite funny.
Also, quite a few presumptuous comments that you are a Tory now and that you're like massively behind the monarchy just because you think England have got a very good chance of winning the Euros and you wouldn't mind seeing them win it. Yeah,
it's crazy. But honest, totally off sport for a second, and we will start the show properly. I had a scary one where my Instagram, it's happened a few times over the year. It kind of happens every 6 months. Replica things get made, but I think it might have been as well. My account was hacked or something, and people are sending like just giving links, right, that they've set up saying that like I need help for my prosthetic legs. Now it's funny, isn't it?
No, it's not.
But there's but I've had emails of this woman in America, and her mum got scammed by like a few $100s and stuff. So social media, whether it's someone commenting or trying to be someone else or trying to whatever, it's a funny but scary place.
It is, yeah.
Scary place. Yeah. Anyway, let's crack on to sport. So, first off, let's touch on the managerial merry-go-round. I personally think Vincent Kompany should just spend the rest of his days counting his lucky stars. Like,
he should just give his agent the job because his agent's a genius.
I don't know. I seen or heard today that there was some kind of reasoning behind. I don't know if you heard this, that because he's somehow worked with Pep, and it's like Bayern have looked at the Leverkusen model of Xabi, who'd worked with Pep, ex-player, young guy coming through, and they've kind of thought Vincent Kompany,
Arteta as well.
And they've kind of looked at the whole people who've worked with Pep. He's young, let's get him in. So, listen, that's a fair kind of assumption if you're going to use Arteta and Xabi Alonso as one, but he had one good season with Burnley.
And didn't he ask Pep for his not as blessing, but his opinion on the potential appointments, and he was like, yeah, it's
Bayern Munich did.
Yeah,
That even makes more sense then. Yeah, I think he's had one good season with Burnley, which, let's be honest, they're a yo-yo team. Whoever managed them.
But I think it's hard to call it a good season. You know, you talk to most Burnley fans, and they're like, it was really naive. Lost far too many games at the start of the season. Didn't.
Or when they got promoted.
Oh no! Sorry. I thought you were talking.
No, I'm saying the one good season was when they got promoted. But even that though, I think I'm not taking anything away from his achievement. Getting out the championship, seems to be difficult. But they are a yo-yo club. They always go up and down. So it's not like he's took someone like Plymouth and brought them up. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
I think it was probably a credit to the way he completely changed the style of play. He didn't just pick up what Deitch and whoever else.
Gary, but the irony is though he didn't change his style of play at all in the Prem.
No, he did. What I mean, he did from the previous regime to what he done in the championship. To win the championship and to win playing the way he did was a credit. To be fair, but if
he'd been able to reinvent himself again and stay in the Prem, that would have been a far greater achievement. But he was so stubborn. He got them relegated. So you could argue all his hard work of getting them up gone anyway. Because he's back where they started. And he's now landed a Bayern job.
Is it kind of because he's got the model though that they want, so the style of play with their players might work?
He did do well at Anderlecht as well, by the way. I know the Belgian league's terrible, but Anderlecht when he took over had fell from grace. They were like whatever 7th, 8th. They've always been one of the top 2 or 3 clubs in Belgium. He did completely turn that club around, and they won the league under him there as well. So I'm not claiming that Anderlecht in Belgium are the prerequisites to getting a job like the Bayern one, particularly when you've had one more than sketchy season in the Premier League. But I don't know, look, we'll see. Time will tell, won't it? Time will tell whether this season in the Premier League, there was a few mitigating factors maybe that meant or didn't allow him to do the job on a results basis that he could have done. But
listen, I actually think he might turn out to be a decent manager, but I think that there's this weird thing, I believe.
He's jumped the queue, hasn't he?
That's what I'm saying. So there's this weird thing I think about being a manager, right? Guardiola, unbelievable manager, right? However, would he still be as good, as quick as he's been if he managed an Anderlecht and then a Burnley? Yeah. He's managed Barcelona.
He started with Barca. Yeah.
Then he's went to Bayern, and then he's went to Man City. Like Vincent Kompany, all right, he's done Anderlecht and Burnley, but he's kind of jumped ahead of the queue a lot there, because if he'd probably win the league at Bayern, or he's going to be in the run. He'll have a good go in the Champions League, might win a cup. So straight away he's gone from, where'd you go from Bayern Munich? He's going to go to another big job. So all of a sudden now he's almost kind of guaranteed like boss jobs for the rest of his career.
Yeah, it's mad. It makes me laugh again, Harry Kane. He's thinking, oh my God, are you messing? How have I come to Germany? I've ended up not winning a cup, and now I've ended up with the Burnley manager.
and Craig Bellamy.
Yeah, and Craig Bellamy.
Like, how...
Is Bellamy genuinely going to be his number 2 still?
Well, I'm assuming so.
Oh my God.
England's greatest ever striker getting coached by Craig Bellamy.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit harsh. Craig Bellamy seems like a nice fella from the podcast I've seen of him, but fucking hell.
Yeah,
anyway.
It's crazy.
Barcelona have appointed someone
Hansi Flick, yeah.
Old Bayern manager. So that was that.
Manager, failed national team manager. It's a strange appointment, that. I mean, particularly the whole saga around Xavi saying he's leaving. Laporte apparently having make-up talks with him, and then them doing that weird press. Did you watch that press conference?
No.
Really weird. They were like, he just kept on like kind of half hugging Xavi, and Xavi was a bit like, what are you doing? And he was just kind of making out that, look, it's an amicable part, and then it was the right thing for the club. But apparently what had happened is the way the conversation had gone between the two is, will you stay? Yeah, okay, I'll stay. But by the way, if you do stay, just you need to know we're not going to be competing with Real Madrid for a while now. This is what's going to happen, that's going to happen. We may have to sell. And at the minute they said, like, you may have to sell some of the younger players. He's like, look, I'm not into that. I've spent a lot of time bringing some of these players like Yamal into the first team this season, and now you're telling me I've got to sell them. Hansi Flick, that is one of the maddest appointments of Barcelona manager I've ever seen.
You heard it here first. He is just keeping the seat warm for another German in a couple of years. Hansi Flick.
For another German?
Klopp. I think Klopp will go to Barca in a couple of years.
Don't see it.
I do.
Don't see it.
the other manager stuff going round.
Good paddle in Barcelona. Like,
there you go.
Well,
he loves Spain, doesn't he? So place in Mallorca, Klopp. Now he's probably learning Spanish. And there's no other league for him to go to, really, is there? The biggest leagues, you think?
No, I guess not, no. I don't see it personally, but yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah. Strange things have happened.
What we'll do then is at the start of the season, we had our little predictions for various things, and we're just going to kind of review them. So have you got yours up there? Do you know them? So I said top goal scorer. I actually remember now I said it'd be Kane if he stayed. Obviously Kane went. And then I said Haaland. But I did predict he'd have a drop-off. And he did have a drop-off. He still scored 27, I think it was. I said 25. So I think...
You said 25?
25 to 32 was the quote. I had let it look this morning.
Do you know what I mean? That's looking good, that. Do you know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I said exactly the same. Like my one said, not exactly the same goals. I said Kane, in brackets, Haaland if Kane gets transferred.
Yeah, but I went one further to say he'd have a drop-off. And I got it within a couple of goals. So I'm going to... little...
Fair enough.
So we had players to keep an eye on. I had Núñez and Elliott. Both I think can be feasible for different reasons.
Keep an eye on them,
do you know what though as well? You'd say Núñez, right? If he'd scored a couple more goals of those important ones that he inevitably missed, he could be in that bracket. But anyway, that was a bit of a okay.
I know, but like if you look at the amount of goals that he did actually score, like Richarlison's got more than him.
Really?
Or level with him in the Prem.
Wow.
So like he was a bit part player for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Núñez was number 9 for like I'd say 70-75% of our games. Yeah,
let's forget that one then. The other one I said, which I'd arguably I'll probably be on my own saying this, but I said Elliott, and I thought he was great. I thought I've seen a few interviews with Klopp, and Klopp almost was a bit apologetic that he never gave Elliott more game time. And I was actually a bit disappointed he never got an England set up. So
I think the thing with Elliott for me, it's a bit of a positional thing. I don't really know where he's most effective. Is it coming off the left or the right? Is he attacking midfielder? I think. I think look at that position in the pitch for England. They're particularly blessed, aren't they?
I think it's a Mo Salah though. You know, for Liverpool, I think it's when Salah goes. I think that's where he'll fit in.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who did you go for? Your place to watch?
So I had Moussa Diaby for Villa. It's done okay. Villa obviously had a great season. He was playing second fiddle, I think, early on in the season. So the other guy they got from Leverkusen was his name. The two of them, the two wide played. Anyway, towards the end of the season, I think he did do particularly well, and I think he'll kick on again next season. The second one was more of a, I wouldn't say sympathy vote. It was more like I'd just be interested to see how he's done. It was David Brooks at Bournemouth. He actually ends up going on loan to Southampton, so not a great season, but he got promoted with Southampton, so I'll take a claim a little bit of credit. Now that was more the fact that he'd had 2 years out with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So great to see him back in the Prem one way or the other next season. I had also James Garner for Everton, and he had a really good start to the season. I think he ended up with only behind the two centre-backs having more appearances than anyone else, which is a big nod for him. And yeah, Josh Brownhill I had as another one as well for Burnley, but didn't probably get the minutes there. Yeah,
the other notables I put down was Mason Mount and Ollie Watkins, which I said was a young lad for Villa.
That young lad?
He's 27, I think, but I'm going to go with Ollie Watkins. Listen,
yeah, brilliant.
That was a great shout. Been great. Mason Mount, not so much. And the surprise package I went for was Villa and Notts Forest. Obviously,
same for me. I said Villa.
We've nailed Villa, haven't we? There then.
And then my other surprise package was Burnley, which was a surprise package in the end that they went down. But I fancy Burnley to do a lot better than they did. I think in the table actually you didn't have Burnley far off where I think I had them in 12th. I think you had them 14th, but surprisingly, and my drop off. So we had a team who had to drop off. I had Brighton to drop off in 11th, which I think was almost nailed on.
Well, he did, didn't he? Definitely drop off. I had me drop offs from Newcastle and West Ham. And yeah, Newcastle were unlucky, really, I suppose, not getting Europe in the end, weren't they? And West Ham. The one thing I did say was I'd love to see Luton stay up.
Close.
But I can't see it. And throughout the season, I kind of fell in love with them a bit and did want them to stay up just because of the heroics that went on in their home games. But unfortunately, just not enough. Right, we did, thanks to our lovely producer Musk, come up with a little game. So we've predicted, or we did at the start of the season, like the kind of league table. And what are the point system then, Musk? What do we go for?
Right, I'll just get it up for you now.
So in short, well, Musk, go on.
Yeah, so it's basically you have to predict who was finishing where by the end of the season.
Yeah.
So if you got it bang on, you get 4 points. One position out, 3. 2 positions out, 2. 3 positions out, 1. Then it goes -1, -2, -3, and for some of them, you were 7 places out, so you got a -4.
I just want to finish in the positives, to be honest, if I can.
I think just because of my
the bottom 2 you had pretty much, didn't you? You had the bottom 3 in the right order.
Did I?
I had the top 3 in the right order, and I think you had the bottom 3 in the right order.
No, I had Wolves.
Second bottom, I had Wolves third bottom as well.
It's got to be close, like one must get us with them.
Tight.
Right, so I've just put Andy's in. So if you want to just go into the group there, Andy's are just being dropped in.
Total score 17
points.
I'm happy with that. You said you would be happy if you had one in the minuses.
I know. Maybe not so now. I don't think I'm beating that. Let me look. So
you got a couple of 4s, top and bottom, both 4s nailed on.
Yeah.
Luton nailed on, and then a lot of them were just like
a few
milling around.
Dodges them well, you know. There was only West Ham that you were massively out. And Wolves any further out than that? Oh yeah, okay, -2. Yeah, okay. I think I've got at least 2 teams that were 7 or more places out, but I know I've got the top 3 right.
Right, so this is down to who knows sport better.
You're saying that now that you know.
Say it too soon.
Gary's it in.
I can't open it.
29.
Oh wow!
You messing?
Got the top 3 straight away. So there's 12 points straight off the bat.
Yeah, it's only a stupid little game.
I got Everton.
Means fuck all anyway.
I got Everton nailed on. West Ham nailed on. Brighton nailed on.
Yeah. What?
Villa wasn't far. Well,
29.
Chelsea. It's impressive, that, isn't it?
It was only Burnley that let you down, really.
I did say that as well.
Burnley and Crystal
Palace.
Palace was the late resurgence, wasn't it?
If you'd basically swapped Palace and Burnley, you would have absolutely nailed it. Right, fuck it. Let's move on. That was shite. Oh, bastard.
I remember though with a few weeks ago saying to you that my positions are quite close in this league.
Imagine the odds on getting all 20 in the right position.
Happy with that.
Yeah, you've done well there.
To be fair, the top 9 or 10 places, there's only Man United that I didn't get.
You both put Man United quite high up, didn't you? You thought that Ten Hag would have a good season based on the back end of last season. But obviously, the opposite.
Bombs. Wow.
What we're going to do with the footy, as the Euros is 2 weeks away, we're going to touch upon it a little bit more on the final squad, aren't we? What's going to come from it and who might not kind of make it. You forget this weekend there's still the Champions League.
I know.
You think so? All the England players have met up, apart from the players, obviously Bellingham and any other national teams won't have their players who are left playing. You're going to be watching it this Saturday?
Oh yeah, can't wait. Saturday's one of them. We just need to get into your house for about 5 o'clock.
Well, I put a post out on the things to say, is there any places in Liverpool that'll do both? Because I know a lot of places are going, we'll show the boxing for a little bit, then when the match comes on, we'll show the match, and then we put the boxing back on. So
I mean, like,
you're going to miss
out.
that
when I'm talking. I put in my notes about the boxing. There's a good chance that the Nick Ball fight and the Hamza Shearez fight will be on the same time as the Champions League final, which is
it's not good, is it?
That's why you need that dual screen going on.
Definitely.
What are your thoughts on Champions League? Anything other than a Madrid win?
No. Really can't see past it at all. Just everything about there's so many subplots in there, but I just think the manager's a big factor. You know, he's been there, he's done it. So many players in that squad are a big factor. They've got so many match winners, so many leaders, so many R-asses.
Just the experience though as well.
Yeah, just R-asses, aren't they, all over the pitch? They'll know. And I so often in the last 2 years you've seen it. Ancelotti can make 3 subs, and it's normally 3 midfielders on, 3 midfielders off. Just completely changes the dynamic of the game, changes the style of play so easily because of those players in there. Yeah.
I've got a soft spot for Dortmund, obviously just with the Klopp connection and stuff, and I think, you know, root for the underdog as they are in Germany, if you like, against Bayern Munich. So I'd love Dortmund to win, and I obviously don't love Madrid with the heartache I've suffered against them over the last few years. Saying that though, I'm starting to develop the biggest man crush known to man on Bellingham, and I just love him.
Started.
Well, it's been going on a while. I just love
him. There's a financial incentive as well.
There's a massive financial incentive. No, I just listen. I think he's great. He's just been crowned La Liga Player of the Year as well, which again will make the odds of him winning BBC Sports Personality go down. I just think what a player, and I'd love to see him win it.
Yeah.
You know, his debut season in La Liga and to do the double would be brilliant.
Probably fair to say that there's not been a player since David Beckham that's walked into that club and just went bang. This is me. I'm having this. But I'm owning this.
Yeah, I'd say he's owned it. I'd say he's. Don't get me wrong. He's not as famous as Beckham.
The pressure that was on Beckham though when he walked in there.
Yeah, I think he's handled it a lot better. And I think
a show reel of Beckham's first season and the assists. It's just a joke.
But he didn't win fuck all though, you know.
No, I know, but
that is down to a team,
can't influence that, can you? Going in and performing.
No, but I remember what he done for Ronaldo, and he's on the halfway line and he just bends this ball, and it is just insane. And it's like, but I just think, how you know, he's 20, not even 21. He's 20 and he's went into that team full of winners. How he's made a real effort to learn the language, the culture. He seems to have settled in with all these absolute superstars. And yet, if you've got a few quid on him, when I said it's 7-1 to win BBC Sports Personality of the Year, he's won La Liga Player of the Season, won La Liga, could win the Champions League, hopefully leads England to glory. I think he'd be nailed on.
To be fair, Luke the Nuke had a good week last week though, so
I know.
He'll have something to say.
I text Gary and said, "You fucking little bastard winning that," but yeah. Last thing on footy, unless you've got anything else, do you know what I was actually really pleased to see? Sad that he's retiring, but glad to see he's gone out at the top, unlike every other mercenary footballer who wants to get his last payday in Saudi. Tony Cruz.
Yeah.
He's only, I think, 32, 33, you know, and he's just went, I'm done.
Not 32, is he?
Yeah.
It's got to be 34 at least.
I'm going to say 33.
No, I'm sure he's 34 at least.
No.
I mean, there's only 2 years difference, you know what I mean?
But even so...
You're right, though, he could easily walk...
He's 34.
Yeah. He could drop down to another team.
2-0 to me now, yeah.
He could...
Do you get another point for that?
He could drop... That was a bonus point. He could drop down, though, couldn't he, to a lesser league. He could drop down to a lesser team. He could go to the MLS, go to Saudi. And he's went, you know what, I've just won La Liga.
Yeah, without doubt, yeah.
Hopefully going to win the Champions League, and that's me done. And I just think that's what you kind of want. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Maybe it sounds a bit old school, but I just think, fair play to you.
And did you see that little... just a split thing, and it had Tony Cruz signing for Real Madrid. 8,000 people came to see him, and it said Tony Cruz leaving Real Madrid. 80,000.
Amazing,
seeing him off.
Brilliant. Anything else on footy before we move on? So we touch on golf. As I made the joke last week, and a couple of weeks ago with you, that Rory McIlroy's filed for divorce. I didn't make the joke about him filing for divorce. I made the joke that if he's not dealing with his missus back home, it could maybe free his mind up to get his golf
Everyone's
game back.
got this picture of Rory McIlroy's ex-missus, an absolute crank as well.
Yeah. And anyway, yeah, so he's young, free, single, ready to mingle, and hopefully ready to start winning some majors.
Ready to start.
And his next sinking in putts. He'll be doing more than that. His next tournament is it this weekend? It
Canadian Open.
It starts today, I think. Today. So
yeah. Canadian Open. So just keep an eye on him.
Round's gone for him. Oh no, it'll be just kicking off now, won't it? Because of the time zones.
So again, just my little hunch that he's a happier fella now that he's filed for divorce. I think start keeping an eye on Rory to get some W's next to his name. And I mean on the golf course, not in the nightclub. So I think he was as short as 3-1. I think the second favourite was about 7-1.
He always is though.
So it'll be interesting.
He's very rarely not.
I know, but
favourites.
He needs to start winning a bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I think. And he was one of the people who've come out this week as well. The really sad news on it was
the Australian golfer.
Yeah, Grayson Murray. And he's 2-time PGA Tour winner. Grayson Murray. He took his own life, which again we spoke about before, isn't it? I think sometimes you put sportsmen or people who are in the kind of limelight on such a kind of pedestal. You think, no way can they feel shit. No way can they have a bad day. They're playing the sport that we all love and watch. They've got all the money in the world. How can they be fed up? And then you've got a lad here who's took his own life on the 25th of May. You just think it's just you can't believe it, can you?
No, absolutely not. And it's probably an opportunity to plug that there's so many really good charities and particularly in Liverpool, to be fair as well, that are doing a lot to support, you know, male mental health. And it's that stigma, isn't it? You know, men just don't talk, and particularly if they're down, it's like, oh, you know, you man up, grow up here and all that. And it's like,
well, the other ones, let's go for a pint then. And why that's good to sometimes get talking, sometimes just feeding your mate 10 pints isn't always the best thing when they're not feeling great.
No, because the next day it's how you feel.
It's how you feel. So you keep talking, get people out, but maybe go for a walk or a coffee or something, you know.
Yeah, I'm actually playing in a charity match. You won't like it. The people in the charity match, it's a load of Everton content creators.
That sounds mega. That
it's you probably want to blow the stadium up, but it's all the proceeds go to James's Place, which is a really good charity to support men's mental health. So if you're at a loose end and you want to absolutely rip a load of crap Everton content creators playing on the pitch, then get down to Widnes Vikings on Saturday.
The Saturdays, yeah.
Yeah. Nice, innit? I think it's 2 o'clock. I think it's kicking off. So get back for the Champions League.
I'll definitely get down and support that, yeah.
But it's really sad, and I think it's. Do you know what?
It just puts everything into, you know, pales like the sport itself into significance. Like you just like it means nothing, does it?
And how many people as well that say this all the time? Just think, oh, you know, like when the Dele Alli thing come out, how can he be? He's a golfer. He's a professional golfer. How can he be depressed? And what reasons he got? And no one can get inside someone's head, can they?
No, really sad on it. Yeah. Again, it makes the arguments even more. I was gonna say it was gonna sound stupid. You know, he's won two PGA tours. You know what I mean? It's like he's winning. He's doing. You know, and yet he's still unhappy in his own head. Which
the headline is really McIlroy calls for kindness. Like,
well, we started the show talking about getting shit on social media.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now you don't know what was going on in his own personal life.
What he's referring to there, I'm not sure.
But no doubt there have been people in the limelight who've took their own life because of social media. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, just I think that headline, "Call for Kindness" by Rory is great. So yeah, keep an eye out for Rory anyway. Hopefully he'll start doing all right now that he's not got that ball and chain stuck to him now. Got the tennis going on at the minute. It's the French Open just started. I've seen Novak just won straight sets to go into the last 16, as you'd expect. But what was interesting, he got beat in a tournament before this. I think it was the Austrian Open.
Yeah.
He got beat 2-0. I think they only played 2 sets to 2. He got beat 2-0 by someone in the quarters, it might have been. So I was thinking, what's going on here? But he's
got form for that in the last few years, where he thinks he knows his body, and he thinks, you know, I could do it going out here because I need a few days rest. I could do without another 6 sets or whatever it is to win that tournament, just to be right for the French Open. And you don't get to that age, do you, without still competing at the top level in the big majors without knowing your body as well as he does.
And I think that's what the elites do, isn't it? They kind of can switch it on, and when they do, I mean, the headline here is he produces a vintage display, so he obviously knew when to turn it on. I
haven't seen. Was it? Are we into the second round? Or was that the first round?
We're going into the third round now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I might seem a fool here if I haven't got it right, but I looked at the at this lineup and I fancy Zverev, to be honest, to do well. He's probably already out now that I've said that, because I'm a bit more of a fair weather tennis fan, but I do like to watch them. Here we go. And he's going to tell me now he's already out, which would be terrible. I've just gone past him there.
No, he's won.
Yeah, okay, so he's through at least.
Yeah, he's through,
I fancy Zverev, so he's the court suits him. He's in decent form, and I think the players that have known...
He's playing the 26th rank Dutch guy, Gresk Paul.
Yeah, I think he's got a favourable draw as well.
Yeah. So yeah, if you like your tennis, that's the French Open on at the minute. And then the big one, mate, as you can imagine this weekend, is the boxing.
Yeah, it is. Just before I get into it, we get into it, because obviously Muskie's got a heavy interest in this, particularly in the Nick Ball fight. But I've done a write-up on each of the fights. The first time in a while I've felt the need to do this, because normally you're looking at a bill and you're thinking there's 1 or 2 fights on that bill that you could maybe speak about. But when you're looking at 6 fights this weekend, not just the 5v5, but obviously the Bivol fight, which would have been an absolute belter with Beterbiev at the top of the bill, but sadly Beterbiev got that horrific knee injury. But you've got 6 fights there that are all you could say something about. The 5v5, by the way, before we go into the fight itself, and we spoke a little bit before we started recording, I think it's an unbelievable idea. I think it's brilliant. I think it's long overdue. I always say this about individual sports and individual athletes who compete in these sports. Maybe not as much combat, but the likes of golf, the likes of tennis, they always talk about how great it is when they get the opportunity to play as a team, because everything they do is as an individual. Obviously not including the support staff, but you can see some of these are buzzing over it, like being together as a 5 and like you know, bouncing off each other and ripping each other's opponents and stuff. And I just think it adds so much to that dynamic. I mean, Muskie said, and it's an interesting topic that maybe you spoke. Muskie said off air, just to mention what you said before we come on.
Just saying, like, as it goes on and it gets bigger and bigger, does it get to a point where they see themselves more as a team? Maybe not this, because it's like the first proper one, but if they do it as a team, as the night goes on, when there's more pressure on, like maybe Eddie or Frank today, like, oh yeah, we'll be able to put something else on your pace if you know, take it up a little notch or whatever. But we were saying, like, it's probably going to be that they've got to think about their own individual records first.
But I don't think he threw that bit in at the start. If Eddie goes in the changing room or whatever and goes, hey, by the way, extra mil, yeah.
So this is the whole idea.
I don't want to get beat by Frank. Extra mil if you can knock him out.
Well, there's different points, isn't there? I think this is where it's going to come to. So it's, what is it? Is it 5 points a knockout?
5 points for the knockout. Oh yeah,
I'll get it up now.
Get this right. It's in our group, isn't it?
Yeah.
But and I didn't see these scores actually until this morning, and Muskie put them in our group as well.
No, so it's just 2 for a knockout or a technical, 1 for a decision, 0 for a draw, and the captain scores double.
Yeah, so it was kind of put to us that, well, the idea of, you know, if it gets down to, like, you know, the 3rd or the 4th and 5th fight, and a couple of knockouts are needed, and, you know, Eddie comes in and says, look, you know, we need a knockout, you know, go for it. Would the fighter then potentially change tactics just to try and get a knockout and make it like a win for Team Hearn? What a load of bollocks.
No,
no.
I think you're painting it as the most dramatic version of it. I think there'll be a...
that was the question.
No, I don't. I don't think he was obviously posing that.
Yeah, and I'm just knocking it back down. I agree with you. It's a great gimmick. 5v5 are the 2 biggest promoters in this country. It's a great idea. But those fighters, as much as they can, they're all like, this is a great little team, we're on Team Hearn, you know, when it comes down to their own individual fights, they will not give a fuck whether they need a knockout or not. They will listen to their corner man, and if they need to hold on and they need to just see the round out, whatever, they'll be doing whatever they can to win their own personal fight. They won't care about going for a knockout to get an extra point to make sure Eddie wins.
I think the headspace that Wilder's in, I think that whole thing will make a difference to him. You know, he's almost spoke openly after his last defeat that over the last 2 or 3 years, particularly since the 3rd defeat against Fury, his head's not been in it anymore. He's found God and all that. Not that means his head's gone, but, you know, he's kind of lost faith. A trip to Costa
Rica and ayahuasca can do that to you, to be fair.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think it might make a difference to someone like him, because he's even said, if I get beat this weekend, it could be it for me.
But surely
so why not just go out, think, you know what, go out swinging in the way that he came in? Do you know what I mean? That's been what he was synonymous for before the Fury fight. He obviously got that big knockdown against Fury, which should have been the crowning moment of his career.
Listen, I just think this is a... By the way, I'm not slagging it, because I think I'm really excited to watch it. But I just think it's been a great PR play by Mr. Turkey to make these conversations...
Mr. Turkey.
To make these conversations happen, because what you've literally... It was a great question, that little poses a great debate. I guarantee that will be happening on DAZN, whatever it's on, whatever platform it's on by the 4th fight. The commentators will be going, oh God, you know, he needs a knockout for Eddie to win. Like, so that will be will be the kind of...
Can you bet on the teams? I haven't even seen that.
Probably, yeah.
Probably. I'd imagine so, yeah.
That will be the narrative that, you know, if Wilder needs to win, he's got to, like... Yeah, so this is the point I'm getting at, why I think it won't happen. Let's say Wilder's up on every card, right? But with a knockout, he gets 2 points rather than 1. And as he's captain, he'll get 4 rather than 2. And so a knockout would win the whole thing for Team Eddie. But like he's already winning every round and he's comfortably going to win on points. You're telling me he's going to risk going for it to knock him out?
Who is Frank Warren's captain? Because we know Eddie Hearns is wilder. Who is Frank Warren's captain?
But can you imagine, though, right? Him comfortably winning Zhang, and then somehow news gets to him. Eddie Hearns needs a knockout for you to get 4 points instead of 2, and there's an extra £1 million in it, and he just starts swinging. Like, it's not happening, is it?
What do you mean the news gets in? It's like there's another fight.
No, he's like he's in the corner, and Eddie Hearns going, "There's an extra £1 million there for you, lad." You know, it's not happening. It's a great little narrative.
To be fair, Frank's picked his captain quite well. It's Hamza Shiraz.
Yeah, good pick. Yeah. Clever.
Yeah, but so's Eddie with Wilder. If someone's going to knock someone, no, but
if you're
thinking of knockout 2 points,
yeah, true.
You get double.
You go with one of your heavyweights, don't you?
So I think it's a great idea. I think it'll be good fun, and I think it's great because it's got this conversation going. But I think the reality of it is, it won't mean fuck all.
No, fair enough. I was saying to the lads before we come on, I've just said it myself actually. I've done a write-up for the fight, but I'm going to put it on our Patreon. It's only fair, obviously, to our members who pay. Fairly in depth as well, so it probably bore the life out of half the people who listen to it. So if you are interested, obviously sign up to the Patreon. You'll be able to get that. There's some really big tips in there as well. Some massive singles, because I think there's some value in the card. Because most of the fights, depending on which side you see, you could see close to 50-50. With a couple of exceptions, but just working through the cards in the basics really. The first fight, Craig Richards and Will.
Sorry, can I just ask as well? If there's 5v5, is there other fights on the card?
No.
It's just these 5 fights?
Well, there's Bivol is the top of the card. Dimitri Bivol, which was meant to be better against Better Biev. That's not part of the 5v5.
Wow, so there's 5v5 and then there's another.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. That is top of the card, though, isn't it? Muskie, I've got that right still, haven't I? I'm sure it's the 5v5 followed by Bivol. But anyway, I'll go through briefly. I've got Bivol at the bottom here. Just by the way, the Bivol one's going to be a non-event. Not a non-event. I think Bivol just blows him away. Zinad is for me a second or third rate replacement for Better Biev. He was clearly ready. He's got a decent record, but I'll be shocked if that fight sees the final bell. So if you want a bit of value, and this is not part of me tips that I'll put on Patreon, get on Bivol for the knockout, which is as good as evens, which is as good a money as you're going to make, as easy a money as you're going to make this weekend, if not any weekend.
Yeah, it's part of the same schedule.
Good.
So the first one, Craig Richards and Willie Hutchinson. Craig Richards, been in there with Buatsi, was probably 2 years ago, if anyone remembers the fight. It went the distance, and it was toe-to-toe, him and Joshua Buatsi, who were, he's a top fighter. They went toe-to-toe. Richards was unlucky. He ended up losing the fight to a unanimous decision, but it was a harsh decision, and it was a really good fight. He's fighting Willie Hutchinson, who must be 7 or 8 years younger than him. Unbeaten. He did get beat once, but it was at super middleweight, so he kind of dropped down to try and win. I think it was a European title, and ended up the weight cut was too much for him. That was the only defeat he's got on his record. Again, a lot of people seeing it as a 50-50 fight. For me, if Richards could come anywhere close to that Buatsi performance, I think he blows Willie Hutchinson away.
And who's he with? What team?
Craig Richards is Hearn. He's the only one. He's the only Eddie Hearn fighter I've actually got.
Really?
That I really fancy.
So he definitely will be offering Wilder $1 million in the quarter.
Yeah. He's going to need to. He's going to need to, as far as I'm concerned. But good. You know what? I think along with the ball forward fight, I think that could be one of the better fights on the card. Again, because they both got the potential to just go at each other. Yeah. Hamza Shiraz and Ammo Williams. Hamza Shiraz obviously grabs all the limelight with the way he goes about things, but he's I've only seen him once in the flesh, and he's massive for that weight. He wouldn't be out of place at cruiser or light heavyweight in terms of how big he is as a lad. Yeah. So
I guess that's why he's captain as well.
Yeah, and I think Muskie's spot on. I think the knockout, that's probably the best chance of a knockout for Frank Warren. Against Ammo Williams, again, he'll fancy himself. Good combination punter, but just hasn't got the size. And I just think the dominance of Shiraz over the distance at least will be enough. And then Muskie, obviously, I'll bring you in on the ball fight. It's a huge step up. Ford, I don't know if you watched Ford's last fight. It was against Kolmatov, and for me, it was probably one of the fights of the year. It was, and the reason why it's so relevant to this one is Kolmatov come out, and for the first 4 or 5 rounds was just all over Ford, and he just completely overrun him. And he looked like he was going to run away with the fight, but gassed after 4 or 5 rounds. You're not going to get that against Nick Ball. And there's 3 things I put in, and I don't want to kill me right off for everyone. I put Ford's a serious talent, and he's justifiably favourite based on his reputation. Yeah, he's favourite, He's favourite. Not by a distance, but I think it's probably something like 4-6 maybe, Ford, and 13-10 or something, Nick Ball. But for me, I've put, look at the last fight. Is Ball better than Kolmatov? Sorry, is Ball better than Kolmatov? For me, yeah, he is. Is Ball fitter than Kolmatov? Can he keep that relentless pace going beyond the first 4 or 5 rounds without a doubt? Could I see Ford knocking out Ball? No. For them 3 reasons, I think it's Ball's fight to lose if he comes in there. And I think the last one, which I put in me write up, is that there's rumours that Ford's struggling a little bit at the weight, and I think if that's the case, I think it all points towards a Nick Ball win.
I like, as we're talking now, Ford's 8-15 just to win.
Wow.
And Nick is 6-4 just to win.
Has Nick ever been not favourite in a fight?
Last fight he wasn't. It was probably just about that. He was a bit outside.
I think in terms of odds though, some of his odds for earlier fights have been favourable. Even if he wasn't even if he was favourite. We've had good odds in the past of Nick before.
First few fights.
Because he was unknown, wasn't he? So no one really knew. But he's a good price there, Nick, isn't he, then, this weekend?
By decision, 3-1 for Nick, and by TKO or KO, 7-2. Oof. So there'll be value somewhere, even if you have a look at your round bettings and all that kind of stuff for Nick. But as Gary was saying, like, he is a machine. Like, he beats every single person in their gym when it comes to all the kind of...
It's just engine, innit?
Yeah.
Just sheer fitness and commitment to the sport and his craft. And I just think if you're fighting against someone in the shape of Ford that is struggling at the weight, probably rather moving up at this stage, but he's obviously took the money for the big fight.
I think going the distance in his last fight probably held him in good stead for these kind of fights as well, because we were used to seeing him go like, right, first round knockout.
We pretty much went distance the fight before though, didn't he?
Yeah.
He caught him really late, didn't he? Got that very late stoppage, so that's a couple of fights.
So
really.
he's proved that he can outlast people. Like,
do you know what I will say? Just going back to Josh Taylor and Catterall. Obviously Josh got beat, but Josh is trained by good mate of mine called Tony Clark.
Oh, sorry.
Running coach.
Yeah.
And he's the guy who obviously trained me when I was running. And I spoke to Tony the next day, and I said, obviously he sent me commiserations to Tony and the team, but I said, like, the engine on Josh.
Fitness-wise,
oh my God, he was going till the end, wasn't he?
Yeah,
like, unbelievable. So I think
Declan Rourke and Joe Mack, and you know, they're not going to allow anyone to
no. But I always see on Tony's Need for Speed, he's called on his Instagram, he's getting them on Waver Street tracking. I just thought, you know, he got beat, but his fitness levels were unbelievable, and like you say, it's going to come in this weekend, then, for all the fighters.
Without doubt, yeah. The next one up, so obviously aside from Ball, the next one after that, and interestingly, actually, I think I mentioned this before, depending on how long the Craig Richards Willie Hutchinson fight goes, either Hamza Sheeraz and Amma Williams or Ball and Ford are going to be on when the Champions League final's on, if not both of them. So it's a horrible clash, that, to be fair, but no, it is what it is. I'm sure most people will be tuning into the Champions League, but I would definitely...
Well, it's my sister's 30th birthday, and I've said I'm going to do a barbecue for it in my garden, and she's... Well, it's all going to be lovely until the point comes of the evening where I'm
the way
like...
your telly is as well, or
but my attention, which is what they'll want as a family, will not be there, unfortunately.
No, I wouldn't think so, no. Next up, obviously, as the fighters get a bit bigger, you've got Dubois and Hergovic. Really interesting, because I think Hergovic is favourite, which I think is based a little bit on the question marks around Dubois' half for me. He's obviously had the early defeat against Joyce, which, you know, he bust his eye, and he had a bust eye for a good 5 or 6 rounds. But the fact he stays in a stool against Usyk as well, which again is no shame. we've now seen, he's the best there is.
Yeah.
But he put him on his backside with a questionable low blow. But again, really interesting matchup. Trying not to give away too much because I think predictions are fairly tasty in terms of the prices as well. But again, get onto our Patreon if you want them. Wilder Zhang, I don't think anyone, whether you're going to predict the fight or if you're going to do a write-up, would not know that this is a shootout of two massive punches. Massive punches. Wilder's been in with the best, I guess, in the shape of Fury and Joseph Parker. Zhang's been with Parker as well as demolishing Joyce twice. But both of them would certainly say that the big punches are where the strengths lie. But the big factor here for me, and it's not necessarily predicting the results, is there's going to be about a £70 weight difference. Really? Which is huge. Zhang's a big guy, but Wilder is, I guess, a puffed up cruiser, really.
I think I'd love to see like a big, crazy, Wilder knockout, because I feel we haven't seen one of them for ages. It feels like, I think 4 defeats in 5, isn't it? I think, or 3 and 4 maybe. But I can see Zhang just boxing his head off and eventually knocking him out.
You know what I will say, regardless of prediction, if it goes the distance or it goes close to the distance, it's going to be a fight of two halves, I think. Because I think the longer it goes on, the one thing you know about Zhang is he does gas, but it might be over before he does gas. And a lot of his fights, like the Joyce ones, it has been. So it's an interesting one, but I think you're spot on. I think Wilder comes in. I think he's going for that knockout.
Well, and with that as well, you're thinking he's probably going to try and want to knock him out early, isn't he? And just get it done, I think. Or you're trying to survive for 6-7 rounds and then hope that he's gassed and you can knock him out.
It depends what he values more. Is he valuing going out thinking I want to go out on my sword and go out doing what I've done and what I claim to do from the get-go, or do I just want to win this fight? If he wants to win this fight, he's got to get beyond the middle of the fight, I think, for me, and stay away from... I mean, I say stay away. You don't want to get close to Zhang, because if he gets close to Zhang, what happens against Fury and against Parker, where they just hold on to him and keep him close, will happen again. And Wilder's not the type where he's close, he can get any real leverage from his punches. He needs that distance to get that right across.
Here's an interesting one to kind of stick with boxing, but go off on a little bit mindset of a champion type thing, or not so much a champion, just mindset of anyone, really. It's been documented he's, kind of found God again, and he's, like I say, thanks to a trip to Costa Rica, I think it was, where he had a little look at ayahuasca and the various plants that Mother Nature gives to us, and he's saw a different way to live life. He's obviously getting paid, not that he hasn't already, a lot of money. I'll take you back, right, and you will have had this, you've done far more running than me, far more impressive stuff than me. I remember running my first marathon, right, and because of my stump, I couldn't train past 18 miles, so the last kind of 8 miles was always going to be a little step into the unknown. I was 17, 18 miles in, got to like mile 19, and I hit like a brick wall. But when they say brick wall, I felt like I'd been blown up again. Like it was a brick wall and a half. And I remember running, I can't remember where it was, somewhere in the south end of the city, and I knew my daughter was at the finish line. Yeah, I was kind of thinking in my head, if my prosthetic leg breaks, then there's nothing I can do about it. Like, that's my excuse to end the race type thing. And I was contemplating smashing my leg against a curb or tripping, so it was broken. I could go, hey, it's not mine. And everyone's been there when you're doing in the gym, when you're doing a run. Your brain is telling your body, your body's telling your brain, this is sore. I don't like it. Stop. Your brain's saying, okay, we don't like this. Let's stop. But there's that famous quote, I think his name's the SBS guy who climbs the mountains now. He said, when you're fucked, you're only 60% fucked. There's still another 40% there, but your body goes into self-preservation mode. So that was just me running a marathon, which people do all the time. Deontay Wilder right there, added the fact he's already had a lot of fights, he's already made a lot of money, he's now seeing a kind of different way of life. He's probably looking at his life post-boxing. The whole ayahuasca thing's probably maybe had an impact on him. I'm just thinking, like, is he?
How much does he want it?
Well, you know, when it gets tough, you know, when it gets tough,
that's the other things where I want to get back up here, or he gets knocked down, which he probably will against Zhang, and equally Zhang could get knocked down by it. How much heart is he gonna have to bite on his gum shield and get back up and go again?
And I think that's massive, you know, because when it goes into those later rounds, like, you know yourself, you know, when you're fucked, right, and maybe you're in the gym and, you know, no one's watching, and you said you're gonna do 20 press-ups, and you get to like 16. Like, no one knows if you do 20 or not. Like, you know, but no one else knows. So you can quit and you can just, but you know, type thing.
The most simple thing that everyone will understand, whether you're exercise or not, is the whole getting up in the morning thing, isn't it? I'm gonna get up early tomorrow. Your alarm goes off and your brain knows this isn't life or death. You can go back asleep here, and it's not gonna impact anyone except yourself. The default is snooze or turn that off, I'll go back asleep again. And
then you put that mindset into him, and if he's struggling, the fight's not going his way, he's getting to 8, 9, 10 rounds, he's on his corner, and he's like, I'm a multi-millionaire anyway, I just want to go back to my house. And that's me why I think Zhang will win. I just don't think is unless you can get an early knockout.
I think it's a really fair assumption, a fair point,
But it will be a great
honestly, it
will be a great spectacle.
A really good spectacle. And again, going back to the first point around the 5v5, I think it's something I think that'll become more and more popular.
Do you know the one I always have to have a little dig at boxing, but like you like that little dig at boxing. The one thing I will say though, which is a little bit infuriating. Well, it's not infuriating. I'm not that bothered by it, but it just makes me laugh. Is you've got his excellency, which he doesn't like being called that, by the way. Did you hear that? He just prefers turkey. That's genuine, that. He just prefers turkey.
You called him Turkey Lad last week, didn't you?
Turkey Lad, Turkey.
I don't know about Turkey Lad, but I heard him on TalkSport and he said, just call me Turkey.
Mr. Turkey, you call him, actually.
Was it Mr.? Well, some variation of Turkey.
Yeah.
Listen, he's the one, forget the Saudi sports washing angle, and you just look at him, he's the one that's brought boxing to life. Right?
He's driving it,
He's the one that's driving it. He's the one putting the money up. He's the one that's almost saved boxing, right? But you'll have Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren being like, you know, look what we're doing, everyone. Hey, look what it's like, hang on a minute. Thanks to you two for the past 10, 15, 20 years, these big fights haven't happened. So it's like, the one sour bit is them two getting their moments in the sun to be like, look what we're doing. It's like, well, hang on, you're doing it because there's a big bag of money at the end of it.
18 months ago, I'm fairly sure I heard something along the lines of, I don't need Frank Warren, blah, 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 as Ian saying that.
Exactly.
And it's now, actually, if we do work together, you know, you've obviously heard him in the flesh, Barry, and talk a lot, and I've heard him talk a lot on the radio since, in the last few months on TalkSport around the darts, and about the fact that, look, we follow the money. Our job is to try and get our clients as much money as possible for what they do. I almost feel like this whole thing, I can hear that conversation, Dad, you know, this Turkey fella wants me and Frank to get together. What's the problem, son?
Yeah.
You know, go and get the money.
Yeah. I listen, I 100% believe that. And by the way, I don't think this Turkey fella's that bothered. I think this Turkey looks great no matter what. He's, you know, maybe Saudi Arabia, he's trying to put a different light on the country, which he probably feels good about. He's himself he's confessed a massive boxing fan, so he's made up to be doing that. He's got boxing fans who are loving him. He's got boxers who are now loving him because they're giving him the biggest paydays. I don't think he's bothered the fact that Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn will no doubt have had a private conversation. They will have went for dinner, and both of them have sat there and said, we're going to have this fella's pants down here. Hey, we are going to have this fella's pants down. And they've negotiated this, and they both said, it wouldn't surprise me.
Put our differences aside,
exactly.
It's all about the money,
It wouldn't surprise me, right, if they went, right, you say you want X amount and I'll say I want this, and they're going to this Turkey, and Turkey's going, oh, listen, can you do it for that? These two will probably go, no, just say you want it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I'm listen, this Turkey probably knows that a bit of that's going on. So I'm not like knocking them for it in that sense. Listen, make as much money as you can. But I think it's a bit rich for them to have the day in the sun when they're only doing it, not for the love of boxing, not for like egos, not for they're doing it because some fella in the Middle East is giving them a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I don't. The promoters, aren't they? That's what.
I don't begrudge them for making money, but don't act like you're the saviour for boxing. This 5v5, it's like, wow, use them It's nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's some fella in Saudi that's made it possible. That's the only thing I will say.
They do tend to give him a lot of credit though, because I think they've got to
right,
they've got to show him that respect. Otherwise, like
fucking
they're
right,
up shit creek. So I know that you're saying like it's great for them, but they do take a lot of opportunities to be like His Excellency this.
Getting paid.
The proper up his arse big time, like.
But like I said on last week's sports, everyone in sport is up their arse for it. You know what I mean? I probably would be, depending on how much they fucking give me. I'm not.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you, do you?
I'm not begrudging anyone for doing it, but just don't be like. Do you know what I mean?
Don't be claiming the credit.
Yeah, don't. Yeah. Or listen, if they come over to me now and said, "Listen, can you just come and do a sportscast in Saudi, and we'll give you $1 million." Right?
Yeah.
I would honestly do it, right, and I would say to people, "Fucking right, I'm doing it. It's $1 million." And I'd be dead open and honest from the start. The thing that does me head in a bit is when people say, "Oh no, it's, you know what I mean," and nice, you know,
the country and we want it. Yeah.
Just be deadly honest.
What they're trying to do.
Just be deadly honest, because you know how stupid would I be?
That's why I referred to the Barry Hearn interviews recently on TalkSport when he's been on Talk. He said, "Listen, there's no other reason why we're doing it. We're doing it because there's more money there. And our job is to get as much money for these sports people as possible. That's never changed. It never will change."
And do you know what sometimes I don't really understand is, you know, and I get morals, but unfortunately in this life, morals don't pay your mortgage. And you know, when you get the working class man, he'll say, "If that was me, I wouldn't go and do it. I wouldn't work for them." And you think, well, how silly would you be in a world where Steven Gerrard, who doesn't need any money, has went over there. Tyson Fury doesn't need any more money, he's went over there. You know, the list goes on and on. The sportsmen, Jordan Henderson, you know, the golfers, Ronnie O'Sullivan. These are people that didn't need any more money, but have thought, okay, I'll go and do it. But yet you're going to sit on your models and say, "Oh, well, I'm not doing it," because, you know, yeah, you could make all your family rich, you know, by doing.
History tells you that there's only a matter of time before everyone just gets on board, isn't it? Everything tells you that. And it's like, I'm sure years ago when the first YouTube podcast come out and you're an avid radio listener, I'm never going to listen to that stuff.
Great shout,
radio listener. I listen to the radio. Yeah. Suddenly you don't realise there's podcasts on your radio. You know, you've either got to get on board or you've got to. And that's life, and it's like when you go, I'm gonna shop in my local high street and keep them open, and then you realise how easy Amazon Prime is, and you can just click it and be there tomorrow, and you think, I can't be arsed going to this fucking town. I'll just get this Amazon Prime. I'm not knocking anyone. I just think be open and honest with it. 100%.
So if Saudi, if Turkey, if you're watching that, I'm happy to come.
Be open and honest with it.
Your mate's going over, isn't he?
True Geordie, yeah. He's and he's someone who I really respect him. He's got himself in the shit over the years for certain things, but he's done that though because that's who he is. And he's owned it. He actually rang me the other day. I was on the phone to him for about half an hour the other day, because there was loads of people he used to work with on the kickoff, and I saw a podcast with one of them, and they're all slagging him off. And I texted him. I just said, "Have you heard these fucking mings?" Because he made them all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they all just deserted them the second a bit of controversy come. And I'd always text him and said, "I hope you're okay," and stuff. And I saw this one podcast. It's the Man United fella. He is Man United when he's from fucking Bristol, obviously, not from Manchester. But he's the Man City guy. He's like the footy Man City guy anyway. Fucking Ming. And on the podcast it was like the fallout with True Geordie, if you like. Do you know what I mean? So I watched it, and he was just a little.
In fact, he's even name checked him in there.
Yeah.
To like
mate, the
more
podcast with a guy called Ben Heath. I actually quite like his podcasts, but he had this Man City guy on, was again a bit of a Ming, but the headline was the True Geordie fallout. So I watched it, and anyway, text Brian, his name is, and we had a phone call for half an hour, 40 minutes, and I think he's great. Like I say, he's said some wrong things, which he's apologised for. He's owned it all. He's only human, and I'm made up he's getting his day in the sun in Saudi because he's been doing it a lot longer than most people. He inspired me to want to do it. So fair play to him. Anything else?
Epsom Derby on Saturday, bit of a left field. The reason I mentioned that is it was like a bit of a. I was down in Surrey this week with my wife and kids, and I've got family down there, and it used to be like a proper tradition. We'd go down there, the Epsom Derby weekends, and you'd all watch it, and that it's obviously a big deal down there, bigger deal than it is down there than it is up here because of the geography of it. But yeah, any of the horse racing fans will be into that. Yeah,
should have really done some research. I've not even had a look, to be honest.
I've got a tip. It's not. You know what? I'm gonna call it a tip. And I'm just gonna get a bit of the intel on it, and it's a decent price. So I've already put it on myself, locked that price in. But here we go. Just gonna get the bit of the thing on it. So far back in the chat, but yeah, this has been one that's been tipped from quite a while back.
Bit of an anti-post one.
Mac Duff, 14 to 1 it is at the time of speaking. So again, even if you're just like, I want to watch it, but I think 14 to 1, 5 at each way, you're getting a really solid return on it.
Nice.
But I think the main reason from the guy who's giving me the tip is the favourite is massively underpriced and isn't the yard is saying it's really struggling going into the race. So yeah,
Saturday is a full day of sport, isn't it?
A full day of sport.
Happy days. Well, Gary, as always,
do you want to just touch on the challenge again, just to kind of remind people of what you're doing in a couple of as it goes out 2 weeks today?
Yeah, so 2 weeks today we will be taking on the Leggett 4x4x48 Goggins Challenge. Me and Gary will be running 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours, starting 2 weeks today, 4 o'clock in Exchange Square, finishing 12 o'clock, 48 hours later on the Sunday in Exchange Square. We're going to be putting information out of all the runs, where they're going to be. I'm going to be running 9-10 minute mile pace. If you want to come and join us, please do. Hopefully share, pass on to your friends, come down with your running club. Donate if you can and raise as much awareness as possible. It's going to be tough. I'm really nervous about it, to be honest. Really nervous. I know you've done it before.
No, I'm nervous about it. I don't like going into anything thinking it's going to be a piece of cake because, as you say, the power of your brain will just destroy you. So no, it's tough. It's more tough. Like, I love me sleep, and I know you're the same. You love your sleep as well. And
that's the thing I'm most scared about.
That's the worst bit. You're not sleeping for 48 hours.
Yeah. Well, you're sleeping at most 3 hours.
No, you're not sleeping for 3 hours. You think
just
about
think
it.
your adrenaline when you finish and all that kind of stuff.
So
travelling home.
Let's say on the say it's the lower side of the 9-10 minute miles, and it's a 9 minute mile you do for
let's say 40 minutes.
Let's say 40 minutes. So you've then got to get into your house. You've obviously got more to do to get your head down. You've got to get your kit off and whatever. Or you just jump on the couch straight away. You then got to get ready again to go.
Drive to the next venue.
Or drive, in our case, most of the time we're driving somewhere else. So,
so 2.5 hours and maybe
2 hours, I think, is your best chance.
Lad, I have like 10 hours a night, you know.
He's gonna be so grumpy as well, you know.
I am gonna be fucked on the Monday though. It's my birthday, so I think I'm gonna go a little spa day. I think on the Monday.
Oh, that'd be lovely. That.
When do you get your jab? Your testosterone
I'll
jab?
have it today.
You need it. Oh, it'll be worn off by it.
Text me babe before she's on standby tonight. I got it today. In time for the next 2 weeks. So I'm all testosterone up, flying. Now I'm dead nervous, but it'll be a boss. Do
you know what helps? I'll be honest, and obviously you've raised all the money to this date for the Suduro Foundation. It's a brilliant charity.
Yeah.
And that's what spurs you on. Like, when I was doing it for a local charity to help local kids, and I just had to keep that in the back of my mind. A lot of people have donated, probably to the similar value to what you've raised so far, and that's what keeps you going. You're thinking, you know what, I can't let these people down. They put money in.
Yeah.
It's not right if it don't complete it. That's what keeps you going.
Massively, yeah.
That's what stops those demons in your head from winning.
Yeah, we'll have to have another chat about that when we're doing it. But no, I'm excited but nervous. So yeah, it's 2 weeks away today. So we'll be putting stuff out on our various channels, and if you can donate, brilliant. I'm hoping to try and raise 10 grand. We're about 4.5 so far. So yeah, you've got time to donate. And again, if you fancy a run, come and join us. All the information, all the places are all going to be there. Hopefully see a few familiar faces, and it'll be good fun. So yeah, boss, please again continue to like, share, comment on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and we'll see you next week.